Okay, so good morning to one and all who've come here for the Core HRIR's, Candid Conversation Series number 2. So I would like to tell all of you that Core HRIR has been, a group which has been in existence since January 2017. We've had more than 5,000 plus HR leaders, CHROs, leading HR minds from Indian organizations as well as Fortune 500 companies. Our vision it is to be an internationally renowned group focused on sharing futuristic HR strategies, advances, and learning at all. It's a professional platform to share, learn, network, and collaborate. The journey, as I said, we have created WhatsApp groups, we have learning weekend series, our Chai Buddy sessions, and we also have something called the Shining HR Awards. We have thought leadership in form of Core Connect research groups. We are the only group in India who's collaborated with HRCI, which is Human Resource Certification, USA since July. There is Core Connect, there is Career Center, there is Core Research, and there is Candid Conversation Series, which launched in April. And today is the second of that series that we are here for. To all the audience, would request, for any comments, anything that you have, please feel free to use the chat box and we'll pick up the questions and the discussions from there. And so glad for all of you to be there. So a couple of things, yes, about HRCI, which are our partners, the global HR certifications which are available. You can always get more details on their website. And let me begin with then the panel that we have for today. So team, while I go into the discussion, as I said, I'm proud to be associated with Core HRIR. My name is Kalpesh Raichura. I have been in the industry for more than 20 years, worked in different functions and different roles. The last organization being TCS, where I worked with. Currently, last 1 year now, I'm the founder of Connect Quotient, and I run my own organization. And today, I'm proud to have with me 3 very senior leaders from the industry. And one small brief, the objective of Candid Conversation. In the last 1 year, I observed that we as HR professionals, we do get a lot of access to conversations happening with HR leaders, conversation happening about what's going right, what's not going right, what do we do, and a lot of that has been from HR leaders to HR practitioners. And one of the areas where I thought I can probably bring in a lot more contribution is a lot more business sense or a business angle, talking to HR from what a business expects from you rather than what an HR should do. And from that perspective or from that position is where Candid Conversation was born. So we had our first Candid Conversation with the CEO of a manufacturing firm, Reno Electronics, and Mr. Ajay Bhagwat was kind enough to have be with us last time. And he gave a lot of perspectives from what a CEO expects from HR and from different functions in the organization and how that made business sense. And today we're going to have some senior leaders, and I'm going to introduce them, as we go ahead there. The intention again here is to bring in elements from a business perspective. HR plays a very crucial role, but more than HR as a function, how HR is a catalyst to actually impact the business results. And for that, without taking much time, I would like to invite Pranav Sinha. Pranav, very good morning and welcome to Candid Conversation on the platform of Core HRIR. Talking about Pranav is the former CGM HR, NTPC, and head of NTPC Power Management Institute at Noida. He's an executive coach, consultant, and a trainer. He has also experience of heading corporate communications with NTPC. Pranav, welcome aboard. Very good morning to you.
Good morning, and thank you very much, Kalpesh. for having me here.
Great. So thank you, Pranav. Pranav, you've been in the business for more than 3 decades. I think you're one of the most experienced people that amongst all four who are here today.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a crisis situation like what we're going to talk about, how HR deals with, is not something which is new for you. So may I
Uh,
request you to share some insights, from your side on your perspective.
yeah, sure. Kalpesh, as you said, crisis. The moment the word crisis hits your brain shoots many neurochemicals in the head, and those neurochemicals leads to a thing that is called then you feel yourself upside down, you are dejected, and all kinds of negative emotions. There may be job loss, there may be pay loss, there may be livelihood loss. So all those things come in the brain at that point of time. But humanity as a race fights it back, fights it
Hmm.
back very elegantly. And it evolves over a period of time during each and every crisis whatsoever we have witnessed. Since we are amongst the pandemic, let me take you through some of the worst pandemics we had in the past 4 or 5 centuries, which perished many human lives. Uh, One of the most, which is recordable in human history, uh, is your infamous Black Death
Hmm.
of
Yeah.
14th, 15th century, where tens of millions of people perished due to plague. And this plague came time and again after that, even in 16th and 17th century, even in 20th century, it came in many places. You may be knowing in Surat once
Yes.
it had struck very
Yes.
badly. Then you had Ebola or dengue. I'm not talking about Ebola and dengue of the recent past. I'm talking about again 15th and 16th century, where again, due to this Ebola and uh, dengue, around 5 to 15 million people perished. Same was cholera epidemic. You all must be remembering about smallpox, which WHO declared as eradicated in way back in 1980. Then we had typhus epidemic. Then we had the of the last century, the worst, the Spanish flu.
Yes.
Again, tens of millions people perished in that. And then again, swine flu came. Again, the similar story. Ebola in West Africa was in the recent our memories. And then you have what your COVID-19. We are amongst the few to witness it. This time, COVID-19 is affecting both as humanity and economics both. So uh, I'll tell you, in June 19 only, International Labour Organization issued a guideline or a document on future of work. And down the line, 6 months, 7 months, it had everything had gone for a toss. And that too, an ILO type of organization which deals with everything. And after doing so much of research, so ILO has again come out with 4 pillars of what they call recommendations. Because in this situation, there is loss of employment, loss of wages, loss of livelihood. Companies may go bust, sectors may go bust. So, but what I was telling you that the brain releases these kinds of neurochemicals, there is another very fighting spirit of the human beings. They start thinking how to survive. So again, the Darwinian theory comes here, survival of the fittest. So, and each and every, I always remember the ancient Greek philosopher Plato's thing. Need is the mother of all inventions. Today we may call it innovations. So that is the how. So we are again in that kind of situation today. So what does the ILO say today? So it is going to be a collaborative approach. Collaborative approach not only of HR, collaborative approach of the national government, collaborative approach of the globe as such. Each and every company, I remember around 185 companies, 185 countries have already been affected by this. So collaborative approach has to be there. So the role of government becomes much more important in these situations. So first is pillar number one is your what the ILO says is stimulating the economy. Pillar number two, I'm not getting into details right now. Wherever is there, I would like to get into. Pillar number two is where our industries suffer. That is, you're supporting enterprises, jobs, and incomes. See, where our HR matters, isn't it? So, and third is you're protecting workers in workplace. Strengthening OSH, that is your occupational safety and health. Adopt work arrangements. Prevent discrimination as execution. See, these are the very profound things. And then provide health access to all. And then fourth is your relying on social dialogue for solutions. So if I bring all these things to at the company level, what happens? So the role of management becomes more. In any crisis situation, the only thing which comes in spot is leadership. It's a test of time for leadership. So the leader has to act with urgency, communicate with transparency. See, each and every word I'm telling you right now has to be dealt with responsibility. I'm telling you, respond proactively to missteps. What happens that in these kind of situations, there is no strategy, there is no tactics there. We go on doing the things here. Engage in constant updating. So communication becomes the sole factor to keep your employees engaged and not to allow in uncertainty. So employees' role, the management roles becomes, HR role becomes communicate with employees constantly so that they are not in any kind of uncertainty. So uncertainty eats people virtually. It eats your head, it eats you physically, it eats you medically. So I'm not going to get into the what is communication and all those. So here I would like to tell you what I feel, what are the 5 top HR challenges today. I may or may not be, many people may not be agreeing, but to my mind, whatever I have read and whatever I have experienced, if number of years experience is called experience or anything else. So what I feel that today, the major HR challenge, keeping in view the situation what we are into, mental health and well-being, to my mind, is the topmost HR challenge today, because this is directly related to your productivity. Second is your managing remote work from home, flexible hours of working, because slowly we are opening the economy. Third is, it hits directly to the HR, is lack of agility. We are driven by systems, whereas system is the last pillar of HR foundations, which are competency pillar, culture building, commitment building. So these are the three big pillars of HR on which at least the company where I work was resting its case for the employees. And the fourth pillar, what in NTPC it used to be, was systems building. But system in NTPC has been on a constantly change, and even this COVID situation, I know it has changed like anything. It has responded with urgency. It has responded quickly. So and these are the areas, and so this is place where HR comes into force. And yes, right now it also needs to look at your policies, HR policies. HR policies are required to be very agile, and it is required to be amended right from the word go if such kind of situations come. And you can converting it into over a period of time. And I'm not saying that it is cast in stone. Many companies take it as cast in stone, the policies. But it can't be. It has to be agile. It has to be flexible. It has to be as per the need of the people. So at the end, I would like to say that there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. So again, going back to philosophy, Socrates questions, or what Krishna told Arjuna in your Mahabharata, when Arjuna was lying low, seeing everybody, all his relatives, all his elders with whom he learned all the techniques of the warfare. There also again said, धर्म ही तुम्हारा जो है, कर्म ही धर्म है. So this is how one has to build. And these are the challenges which we have to face. And as I told you, that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And for survival of the fittest, you have to adapt, not adopt. You have to adapt to the new situation. Yes, many skills will go, many new skills will come. You have to change. And I'll tell you one more data point. In my old company, that is NTPC, in this 2.5 months, how many people did we train? We trained around 19,000 people, including family members. So I'll tell you two more stories of COVID. NBA, National Basketball Association.
So, Pranav sir, if I may take a moment, what I wanted to do is, I wanted to actually just invite Vivek and Bhavna as well.
Yeah, sure.
And what we'll do is we'll pick up the stories from you once they're also here. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. No
Thank
issues.
you.
No issues.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pranav sir. So, I think Pranav sir, you've set the tone for the discussion, because I think what a lovely way of explaining the 5 challenges that the HR faces today, or even what you mentioned about what Krishna told Arjun. I think that's one of the best motivators that I've had. That whenever I feel low, I would go back to the verses from Bhagavad Gita and look at the conversation that Arjun and Krishna had. So thanks for setting that tone. Team, I would like to take this moment to invite Bhavna. Bhavna Avasthi is a transition coach focusing on one-on-one and group transition coaching. She does that for corporates, individuals, entrepreneurs, SMEs, at senior and middle level professionals, and for owners and promoters. She lives by her life vision of changing lives. Bhavna, very good morning and welcome to the Candid conversation on the Core HRIR platform.
Good morning, Kalpesh, and thank you so much for having me here. I am awed and excited to be a part of this group. My God, the number of years that are sitting here is phenomenal. Looking forward to actually hearing what all the panelists have got to say, what you have to say. Also, I'm very excited to know what are the real issues that people in the group are facing. So I'm looking forward to the Q&A,
Yeah.
and also so a little bit about myself. I So would you want me to talk about myself, or how do you want me to take this?
It's your Bhavna, it's up to you. Please go ahead. Like, give us a brief
Okay.
about yourself for sure, and then
Yeah.
we can come
So
into.
what I wanted to add was that because I work with all sorts of organizations, small, medium, big size organizations, I consult with them. I also work with startups. So what that does for me is um, I get the perspective from all sides. What the smaller organization is facing vis-a-vis what a bigger organization is facing. Um, how a smaller organization that has been badly impacted takes it. And I'm going to go back to what Pranav was talking about, agility. Visually, how a bigger organization, which is yet not being impacted also because they're part of those essential services, how they are actually not doing anything, thinking that's how the situation is going to be going forward. So in terms of the business continuity and the planning for it, it's each to his own. The crux of the matter is that it has to be done. If you're not doing it, well, that's the risk you're willing to take. That's brilliant. If you can, if you have the financials to sustain yourself, brilliant. But at the end of the day, like Kana was mentioning, the world is changing. How we are hiring people is changing. How people are reacting is changing. People are, anyways, right now in a very, volatile, tricky, sensitive kind of a place. And just managing those, and while we want to collaborate and we want to be there, as HR, and I'm talking from the HR perspective because I think they play HR as a function plays, it's the glue that binds the employees with the senior management, and that's the glue which is right now at its stretchiest most. They are getting plans are being made, and then it's all on the HR. It's like, you got to find these people, you got to take these people out, you got to make sure the money is being saved, you got to make sure the offices are clean. So there is so much happening for HR. Their roles have been changed. It's not anymore the same old functionality of the role. Now everything is expected from the HR, in not just going towards policy and what is the new government norm on going back to offices, from there to a whole lot of other things as well, to getting in touch with your employees, even providing. I know an organization where the HR, and bless his heart, um, he makes a call to five people in his organization every day, and it is not like one level. He is going across levels, across functions, and there have been times that he's made sure that people have the ambulance service going to their houses. However he can help, not just as HR is human resources, just like the human part of it, in a very humble and that kind of an outlook. So while we are going to talk about business continuity, I mean, I think right now I want to leave it at this and see how things are progressing, and then it's a candid conversation. We'll keep coming back and adding to whatever our perspectives are.
Great. Thank you so much, Bhavna. And I think, you know, the choice of panels that we have today, Bhavna, I want to highlight this and for my audience as well, that we have Pranav sir, who has been a part of a large organization and spent so much time there, and he's going to bring in a lot of perspective from what you do as a part of internal a big organization. Bhavna, you have a lot of experience dealing with small, medium size, and large corporates from a consultant perspective, and what are the things that they're going through. And to add to that, we have somebody with us, Vivek Chopra, who has been delivering mission control productivity training programs since July 2003, a licensed partner and coach. And he's led productivity, stress management, and producing sales result and balanced life workshop for more than 10,000 people across organizations. He's personally coached 5,000 people in dealing powerfully with challenges in their lives for more than 20 years. So with that, Vivek, very, very warm welcome to the Core HRIR's Candid Conversation. It's a pleasure to have you, talk about how people deal with, as individuals, not only as human resource as a role, but how people deal with this crisis. So welcome aboard, Vivek. Would
Thanks.
like to hear something from you.
Thank you. Um, what I what my experience is in times of crisis, 90% of human beings they step up. They are ready to be extraordinary. It's like you have a fire in your house and you're on the first floor and there's no way out. You'll jump from the first floor. I mean that's what a human being is capable of. He can just push himself. Yes, there are a few people who do get a bit stressed. There are people who go into panic. All these things happen, and it can happen to anybody. It's not like it's programmed. This is a 90% and this is a 10%, which is it's not like that. It can happen to anybody. I myself have gone through panic. I know other people who have gone through panic. It's a matter of that time. Maybe the stars, Chandrama is on the head and something else happens. But so people are great. People are capable. People are wonderful. People have lots and lots of power in them, capability in them to deal with crisis, challenge. Uh, and yes, then there are things that you don't know. I mean, this is a situation which is completely uncertain. We've been talking about the VUCA world for the last, what, 20 years? But people have been sort of, okay, yeah, it's an understanding of VUCA. Now COVID has real VUCA is in the face right now. Absolute VUCA is in the face right now. How are you going to deal with it now? And one needs to shape up, either develop something, but inherently capacity is there. People are capable of dealing with the situation. So um, the first thing to do is acknowledge there is a crisis, right? Don't ignore that. Acknowledge what's so. I remember once uh, Pranav said this to us that be honest. Be honest with each other. Be honest with yourself. Don't say anything which is incorrect, inaccurate. Be honest. Deal with it honestly. And we have what we have today, and we are all capable of creating something from here and taking our society, our culture to a next level. All of us together can really do that. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation,
Great.
uh, especially the questions.
We have a lot of them. So, to just give you all a figure, we have almost about 50 professionals who are watching us live right now,
Great.
and there's already an engagement which is going on. So, team, while all to all my audience, while you've already started putting some questions, and we will address most of them to whatever the time permits, but I would also invite you to talk, maybe put up one of the actual situations that you're dealing with right now. Whether it's about the crisis, it's about business continuity planning or the stakeholder management, and we'll try and pick that up. So if I may request all of you to put in, what is it that you're dealing with right now during this COVID? It can be in an individual's perspective, or as your role's perspective, or as an owner. So whatever that is, it'll be good to hear from you to see what is it that you're dealing with. So with that, Pranav sir, I had interrupted last time when you're about to tell us a couple of stories that you had on the NBA.
Yeah, yeah,
So if I may come back to you, because we'd like to hear from you on that to build up on the questions that we have.
yeah. That is the story of 11th March 2020.
Mm-hmm.
NBA, as you know, it's billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar game in US, and
Yes.
people are mad for it. National Basketball Association.
Yes.
Its commissioner on 11th of March itself, when no other country had done any action other than China, they were still contemplating to do something. He acted in urgency and in right earnest, and he cancelled all the matches. You can imagine in USA, if you are cancelling a match of National Basketball Association, the second match was your colleges, involving colleges. So you can see them, you can visualize the madness which was available there. But the commissioner cancelled everything, cancelled everything. And incidentally, on 11th of March, WHO declared coronavirus as pandemic. So he was he acted in urgency, he acted in
I think Pranav's screen has got frozen.
Yes.
I think it's refreshing.
Maybe,
So we'll just.
yeah. Give it a bit.
yeah.
So, Bhavan, are you saying something?
Yeah.
Hey, Pranav, I think we lost you for the last 1 minute.
Yeah. Second is your New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
New Zealand Prime Minister, what she did on March 27, though she was also quite late, but she was quite honest, upfront, and what the people are required to do. So she said 4-step process. And what is New Zealand today? For the past 15 days, not even a single coronavirus case is there. So what I was telling you, that one has to be honest, one has to be forthright, and it has to be, you have to change the direction while you are flying. Okay?
Right.
I'll tell you, when we had a bad time in NTPC around 2 years back. Or should I tell later? Let others tell also.
Sure,
Okay?
sir. Right.
Yeah.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Bhavna, maybe this is one question which I've received, and I think it's a very interesting question, which I think you would have dealt with, customers or companies that you're dealing with. So I have received this one scenario where HR says that during this situation in the crisis, the employees were asked not to leave the city.
Right.
But a lot of them left cities because they were staying alone. They went to their hometowns just before the
Right.
entire lockdown started.
Right.
Now the permissions are there to start the company. The CEO and the managing directors are behind HR that get the people on board. We need to get the company started.
Right.
And these people are now sitting in their hometown with no means of travel to come back to the city or to their workshop.
Yeah.
And what's happening is, in I think one of the comments I've read that you've written, it's like the HR is burning from both sides. It's like a candle burning from both sides,
Correct.
and can't say no to stakeholders. He's not in a position to get those people back to work.
Right.
What do and I'm just thinking about what would a person like that do in a scenario like that to ensure that there's business continuity that is happening.
Yeah. It's such a real scenario that you're mentioning. It's happening literally every day. Where now, when we have the permissions to open the offices, we don't have people in them. So I've always, to all my clients, I've always told them, go back to the facts, go back to the drawing board. People are your biggest resource. It's your people who make your organization. You have to be mindful. You have to be sensitive to, their situations. I'm not saying, you be heartless or, now you take drastic steps. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is evaluate what can be done. Figure out things. We have, our actors Sonu Sood and Akshay Kumar and all of that. They're ferrying people on planes and buses and, so on and so forth. That's happening, right? That's somebody sitting and thinking laterally, saying, what can I do? I'm looking at, okay, there are no trains by the government. And first the analysis, do you really need this person in the office? Can the work not happen while he's at home? I mean, if you have a culture in the organization where your people are responsible for the organization and not the other way around. We used to have cultures where the organization was responsible for the people. It has to change, and it's changing. And now the people are acting as the ones who are responsible for their organization. They're being proactive. They are stepping up. Like Vivek was mentioning, they're capable of so much more. So the best part you can do is engage with your people who are not able to come. Engage with them and ask them for a solution. You will be surprised in how many times it's the people who will give you the answers. I mean, I was looking at some of the questions that had come earlier on, and there was one where someone had mentioned about how it is so difficult to ask for help, as ask for a coaching help or ask for a mentor to help. It's so that's how we are conditioned, right? We are that generation. Typically our generation is the one where vulnerability was a weakness. It's not. In today's this is the Bucca world, right? Everything is on its head, upside down. So today you have to go out, be honest, and say, I need you here. I can't I mean, what can I do to get you here? Tell me how you will manage. And believe you me, the answers will come. I mean, that's what I've seen happening. So yeah.
Okay, no, great. That's I think that's wonderful, and I think I go back to one of the messages which I read, is that the most critical thing that you do at this point in time is communicate, and communicate with authenticity. So this
Absolutely.
is what it is, and absolutely bring both parties to table, saying, okay, boss, now reality is, yes, the instruction was not to go out of town, but now
Yeah.
this person is out of town and he can't come back. What is the other way out?
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and not so what I have seen people is, at this point in time, sometimes a lot of units go into a lot of people attack rather than situation attack, rather than
Yeah.
handling
Yeah.
that situation in
Yeah.
place.
Yes,
it
exactly.
starts becoming about, you're not doing this, this is where you
Yeah.
you you
Yeah.
know you have to get this done. So I think
But
that's,
then, we are, as humans, we are those emotional people, right? And then we are Indians. We are, हमारी खून में है. We are
Yeah,
such an emotional lot that for everything that An Ban Shan, everything comes on the line, huh? So it's like the HR is thinking, I will make it happen. The promoter or the top management saying, it is your responsibility. And the employee saying, I have the will, but I don't have a train. So it's really I'm making it sound like fun. It's a very real situation, but it is what it is right now.
right,
yeah.
that's so right. Okay, great. So, Vivek, there is this question which I think, you know I like to hear from you. This is from Manjunath. He's the manager at Zorient, Bangalore, and he's asking how to keep the employee loyalty intact when all of us are working from home, and now, somewhere the organization name doesn't matter. You're working from home. Everybody's working from home. How do you ensure that loyalty factor? How do you still ensure that they are committed, they're still in the game?
So I don't know if you've heard this statement before. The context is decisive. It's where are you coming from? What is the context in which people are communicating with each other? If the context in which you're communicating with each other is that there is a lack of trust, there is a fear, there is cynicism about each other, then naturally you're trying to ensure that people are doing their work. So then you will communicate in a certain way that I want this report, I want this from you, you better do it. If you don't do it, I'll fire you. There's a lot of threatening conversations that are happening. And in the world, it's been happening for the last 5,000 years. The boss always gives orders and he threatens you to make sure you do your work. It started from school, where the teacher started that threatening. And before the teacher, then it was your mother and father who threatened you that if you don't do it, you'll get a rap. So this is the context in which people are operating and living. It is not a very healthy environment, work environment, even if it's work from home. So how do you firstly transform the space? You start transforming the space by using what is your best skill. It's your ears. Listen. Start listening to people. Try and get to know what is it that they want. You said communicate. I'd rather say converse. Rather than just you speaking to people, you interact and converse with people, listen to them. All of you are HR experts, you all know active listening, deep listening, you know all these things. But actually practice them. Let's connect with the people, listen to what they are dealing with. I know people who are working from home who now suddenly have to handle their kids. They have to handle the cooking. They have to handle the cleaning. And the women, they have to handle their husband, mother-in-law, father-in-law also. I mean, they're going crazy. And then there is this boss who says, ये भी करना है, वो भी करना है. In fact, सुबह 6 बजे से लेकर रात के 12 बजे तक ठंडा चल रहा है. No, that's not the environment in which you want people to work. It's not a productive environment. A productive environment is one where you are peaceful, where you're calm, where you're focused. Not all the time distracted in your head. I've got this to do, that to do, that to do, that to do, that. If you keep living inside of that threat, your productivity does come down. In fact, you get exhausted, right? You get fed up, you get irritated. Yeah. So very, very important for HR and for organizations is create a space where people can connect with you. They feel that you are caring about them, you are listening to them, you have empathy, not sympathy, empathy. Not that you are the superior being and you have sympathy for these poor chaps who are getting, who are in bad shape. Actually put yourself in their shoes and see how would you manage. Would you be driving yourself crazy? Right? You'd rather be able to be, okay, hold on, I can't do everything. You can't get everything done today. Let us see what's most important. Let's create a system or a plan for the day that works, that has you be able to handle your household work and your office work in a manner that works. Discuss it with your boss. HR should train the bosses first and then the staff of how they can interact with each other so that they get the best output from their teams. Yeah. I hope that answers your question.
No, it does. Rather, I'm connecting the dots between what you said, Vivek, and what Bhavna just mentioned before. So one is that, HRs do not need to operate from being superhuman beings. They can't get it all done. Second, they also need to be present to their own vulnerability. Even they are going through this. They have their families who are going through this situation, and it's I've read this. It's okay to be in the situation that you're in, and then look at what do you do next. So I think that's
very critical. Very critical what you said. The first thing is to accept that it's okay where you are. To accept the uncertainty.
Right.
Getting upset, getting fearful when it's uncertain is not a very healthy thing to do. So, some mindfulness practices, some breathing, something to calm down the blood pressure, to calm down the mind is very, very important. And I know lots of companies start the morning off in their organizations with mindfulness sessions where everybody first calm down and then we'll start planning our work and make sure that we work properly. So,
yeah, no, wonderful. I have seen that for one of the IT companies with more than 2,000 employees. They do the first 10 minutes of breathing exercises. Everybody who logs into the shift, they go through that exercise before they actually get working. So, yeah. So this is one question which I actually want to ask to all three of you. This is a lot of people right now, a lot of leaders. There is this drive to prove themselves. Because there is that operating from fear that if I don't prove myself or if I don't prove that I'm relevant at this point in time, there is a sword hanging on my paycheck as well. What kind of a messaging or what kind of a communication can we give to leaders where they actually stuck and just want to ensure that they are proving their relevancy to the organization right now?
Should I go?
Yes, Vivek, please.
Okay. So first thing is, every leader, every person who's working in the organization, you must understand one thing: the person who hired you was not a fool. The person who hired you checked you out properly before they hired you, and they know that you're absolutely fine and you really can do the job. First thing is to get that you're all okay. You don't need to prove anything to anybody. I think that's the first thing. Why you're doing your work is not because of fear that you have to prove something. Why you're doing something is because you really want to achieve things, you want to contribute, you want to make a difference, you want to provide leadership, whatever it is that is your calling. Have that be the context from which you're working rather than a context of, I need to prove it because I haven't yet proved it. I mean, you proved it in the interview, that's why they hired you. That's the way I would approach it.
Okay, great. Thanks, Vivek. Bhavna, Pranav, anything would like to contribute to this?
Yeah, Bhavna, tell.
Yeah, so I want to bring a little bit of analytical, logical angle to this. Um, we uh, we have this social dissonance, right? The messages that the environment gives us. Now we have all of this news. We have other employees saying, "Oh, my job is at stake." Other organization, your friends in different organizations saying, my I was called. So many people were fired. We have internationally, we know people are being let go. All of that. So it's very natural to start worrying, to be in that headspace. So, like Vivek said, you don't have to prove anything to yourself. That's one. The other thing that you can do is also go back to the drawing board and say, well, the things that I can't control, really, they don't matter. The ones that I can control are, if we are talking, like, I'm going back to the question, if we are saying relevance of a person or profile in the organization, how just analyzing why it was relevant a while back, why it is not relevant now. And here I want to bring in the angle of upskilling and reskilling. So basically, even if your profile or position is not relevant for whatever reason, it's not like you will stop mattering or you will stop existing. You are a whole person. You have your skills and you can up your skills and you can reskill yourself into another place. For example, um, I know of an organization. What they did was they had four functions in their sales. They had four teams in their sales department, and same thing. There were some who looked like they were not going to be relevant in the coming future. So the HR here, and I really want to commend the HR. What they did was they did this cross-functional training for all of them. So, for example, if they had like 100 people in each vertical, they did cross-functional training for each of them. And what happened as a result was that there came out some people who said, we like doing the other functions job more than I was feeling very stagnant in my job and I like doing that. And they realized, okay, this guy is actually good in that. So that's where the reskilling started happening. And that is also one of those companies who is doing cross-functional promotions. And when we are talking COVID and this and that, and all of this crisis, there is promotions, cross-functional. Because the HR decided, let's find out, these people have more to offer. It's not just this particular profile. B, the people also, dug deep and found out. So you may think you will be irrelevant, but it's up to you. your relevance is up to you. The world doesn't decide whether you're relevant or not. If
Right.
if that makes sense.
No, I think that does make sense. Absolutely. I think very well said, Bhavna. And I'm just flipping the coin. And I'm flipping the coin from one side of the team, which is very committed and want to ensure that they want to go out and do everything that's required and what will make a difference to the organization. Now there's this other side where working from home is being taken as a vacation,
Mm,
where people want to or choose to work when they think they're working, and they would want to respond that, yeah, we've done this,
mm,
and in the actual sense, there is hardly any work that is happening under the pretext, I don't know, this is not how I've ever worked before, or I'm not used to this, and things like that. And maybe, Pranav, I would probably want to look at your insights on, as an HR, if I want to just jolt and say, boss, listen, wake up, it's not a time we can take our companies for granted, right? They're paying us our bread and butter. There's a certain commitment we owe to them. And how do you drive this message?
See, the thing is, both the questions I'll handle. Like what you said, you had said that there are few people who want to show one-upmanship. I tell you, in crisis situation, one-upmanship doesn't work. From competition, you have to get into collaboration now. Because what I'm telling you, that I'm telling you from my experience, and I have seen 4 or 5 very bad crises in my company, and their only thing works is collaboration, and your mask gets over. Your mask, you are uncovered very quickly, because right from your CEO to down below, everybody is working like a team. And if somebody is coming and telling कि ये मैंने कर दिया, वो मैंने कर दिया, doesn't work in today's world. Similarly, what you just now said, कि there are few people who are enjoying the vacation. See, again, they'll be unmasked very quickly. And I think today, many of the good companies HR are quite agile, and they come to know that what are you doing as such. And so again, आपके चेहरे का नकाब उतर जाएगा कि आप कर क्या रहे हैं. And then don't blame the company when you are chucked off. So chucking off is the reason today that if you are not productive, thank you very much. We are already on a cost-cutting mode. I may be sounding a bit harsh, but this is the reality. This is the Bucca world. This is the COVID world, where the only thing that acts is competence, nothing else. Your dedication, your concentration. How are you going to uplift the bottom line? How are you going to survive in this turbulent times? So it's a ship. It's a ship that, and it is in rough sea. What do you do?
Right.
If anybody jumps out of the ship, or if anybody does something else than what the captain is saying, then you are gone. Then you are gone. So this is what my take was on this.
Right. Pranav, there was you just mentioned that there have been some 5 to 6 crises that you've managed.
Yeah.
Would you be able to share some more insights in any one of the crises that you handled?
Yeah. When I was corporate communications chief, incidentally it happened that there was a major blast in one of my plants in Uttar Pradesh, that is near Raebareli, that is called Uncha.
Mm-hmm.
Around 45 people perished in that, and around 120
Okay.
got affected. And in a power plant blast, it is pathetic because it's very high temperature area. It's high temperature, high voltage current, and incidentally, we had to act very urgently and very quickly. In fact, what I was telling you, that we have to be honest in our communications. So in my uh, thing, in fact, I got a call from my CMD at about 3:45 p.m. that come up. There is something very urgent. When I went to him, I think he was with Director HR. He said there is a blast and we do not know what has happened. The blast had happened 10 minutes back. And the plant business unit head was busy in handling the blast. So we were not getting the information. Somehow we got the information, right information. At 5 o'clock, we released the information to the media as well as to the internal customers, that is our employees, that this has happened and we are onto it. Then what happened that over a period of time, we were all over in the national news. Employees were perturbed, kya ho gaya hai, kitne log mar gaye hain. And then there was also many videos going on of the people who have been hurt actually. To cut the thing short, our second step was not fault finding. We certainly, as per Factories Act, we had to constitute a committee. But the second step, what we deliberately took was compassion. Because there were more of contract labor and less of our executives, we did not differentiate. We put everybody, since it was all a burn case, we shifted, and Raebareli there is no burn in ward and all those. So after first aid, we sent them to Lucknow, and from Lucknow we airlifted them to Delhi. And unfortunately, it's a case today that none of the metros are having wards for large burn centers, except for Safdarjung. There is nothing else in North India. And then what happened? We started putting people with the families. So compassion was there. Then the third thing, as the people start dying, we started, you must be knowing that compensation is a big issue since you are dealing now in HR, and Bhavna has also dealt in HR. Compensation is a big issue. The sole discretionary thing happens or sole fight happens on compensation if the incident has already happened. What we started pushing money, because whatever the minister or whosoever was there and declared compensation, it was a quite good compensation. We started pushing money within their accounts, everything, and started serving the people. So this way we turned the whole game within a 2 days time. And the national media was in favor of us. That accident has happened, but NTPC is taking care. So taking care is a big issue. Yeah. If you are able to communicate this by your actions, not by words, that you are taking care of us, then it's a big deal.
That's so wonderful, Pranav.
Yeah, compassion, honesty, trust, everything comes here. And if you are at all missing anywhere, then you are gone.
Which is, I think, very well said, Pranav, because I think compassion becomes the key in any of these situations. And I think that's what leads to, if I may call, victory or the triumph over whatever you deal with. You know, and a lot of times, and Vivek, maybe this is a question for you. You know, a lot of times there is this something about the reality. Okay, so there is work pressure now. There is, you know, cost cutting which is happening. There are people who probably are on the verge of either being there in the company or not being there, or HR has to deal with that of making those choices and ensure that productivity is going on. But on the other hand is about how do we take it? You know, what does it, what, are you able to hear me, Vivek?
It was a little garbled because of the internet connection. You are asking about about productivity, but I'm not clear about the question.
Sure, I'll repeat that. So I'm saying on one hand, there is that, yes, there might be some pay cuts. There is, you know, this issue about productivity, or there is this issue about motivation, which is happening. And on the other hand, as an HR, I think Vivek just got dropped. maybe I'll pause this question for Vivek to come back, and I'll take it there. So, Bhavna, the another question that's there for you
Yeah.
is that what would be the major challenges? And if I now take the conversation towards how do we handle it? What's the future? So this question is about what would be the major challenges that HR professionals will have to face in the post-COVID time?
Hmm. Though at the onset, I don't know when the post-COVID time is going to be. This is here to stay. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Um, but if you're talking about the major challenges, the biggest chunk in this entire story is people.
Yeah.
We are talking about motivation. Your previous question was when you were asking Pranav that people are, they're not working, the productivity is down, or things like that. I think this maintaining a relationship with your people and continuing to have a level of trust, understanding, and commitment from them, that itself will be one of the things. While on the other hand, there are things that will change. So what I'm seeing already happening is how we are hiring is changing, and this is also coming from the same point with that Pranav was talking, that people will be asked to leave if they're not performing. Um, while I know that expectation setting is something that will help the HR and anyways help the communication, so to say, between all sides very much. That can be the anchor of you know the problem arises when there is scope for interpretation. So we are not setting the expectation. If we are saying work from home and the employee is understanding flexible working, then there is a mismatch between the understanding and the expectation. If we are saying work from home, then we have to start by establishing saying we need, okay, we understand it's not regular scenario. We understand you can't give us 8 hours like you used to, but we at least need six. And by giving us 6 hours doesn't mean you have to sit here and be locked on. 6 hours relates to this work being done and submitted by that time. So, that expectation setting will kind of um, aid in the communication and the relationship. But at the onset, post COVID, we are looking at keeping this family, this unit intact, because along the way there are mental stresses, there are physical stresses, there are financial stresses. All of this is going to take a toll on the organization, on the employees, as a whole. So yeah, I think that's what's key here. And I
Okay.
think Vivek can add more in this. He's also seeing some things like this.
Sure.
Yeah,
Great.
thanks. I'm sorry I got disconnected.
No problem.
Um, See, productivity is not just output. Productivity is how much time are you investing to produce the output. So there is a output and there is a investment. That's productivity. In today's world, if we are focused on output, I want this output. But the thing is, output doesn't come just by itself. It's all about action, right? Now, every human being has only got 24 hours in a day. In that, he's got to find a way to take out the time to take those actions. So, what's missing for people is they haven't got any time actually scheduled for taking those actions. They haven't given the time, they haven't scheduled the time for it. Most organizations, most people who are working, they only schedule time for meetings. And also, those meetings are long meetings, a lot,
And
half the
training,
time, and
webinar and training
training,
also.
yeah, and listening to the boss. There's so much time is spent on baatcheet, but there is no time scheduled for work to be done. So one of the things that HR could do is to get some training programs done for people where they have some way of scheduling the work. Because if the work is not scheduled, it's not going to happen. Like
Yeah.
that's the more authentic way of dealing with it. If you haven't scheduled it, you aren't doing it. And the problem is not that they don't have time. The problem is they never gave the time to do the work. They did not schedule it. So that's what's really going to help all the people in your organizations, is if they are able to now look at, okay, out of all this work, what's important and where am I going to do it? If they have that clear, productivity will zoom.
So I think what Vivek, I cannot agree more to what you said. I've had this observation. So there's one of the senior leaders that I'm working with right now, and his situation was that, and I think that relates to one of the questions also which Ajay Goel asked, that people now start their work at 6 in the morning, go till 11, 12 in the midnight, and still the work is pending. They're still not done on what they wanted to do. And so is the case with this leader which I was talking, that he would get up and start working at 9 in the morning, but go until working till 3 or 4 in the morning. And all that he had time was in between was maybe for lunch, and sometimes even he would skip that. And I think when we had a conversation, I think what came up was exactly what you just mentioned, Vivek. It was more of having everything here and then just trying to do whatever comes to hand and then start thinking, and the distractions, rather than saying, okay, this is what I'm doing now, this is what I'm doing later, and put that on the schedule and then be committed to that schedule. And I think that's one of the very important things of which would bring productivity for people.
Yes.
Great. So
one of the workshops I've been leading for the last 17 years is the Mission Control Productivity Workshop. I'm a licensed partner in India. And our first principle, Mission Control, is you're never going to get everything done. You really need to get it straight with yourself. You're not going to do everything.
okay.
And you're addicted to try and get everything done. Because your mother told you when you were 4 years old that you have to complete everything, otherwise you're a bad boy. And then you went to school and your teacher told you if you don't do everything, you're a bad girl. And you're now 40 years old and you're still working with the same principle that you have to do everything. Baba, if you're trying to do everything, you're going to go crazy and you're going to fall ill. In any case, you're not getting everything done.
Right.
Right? You're sort of driving yourself crazy. Then you're driving everybody in your team crazy because you're trying to get everything done. And you're reacting. You're all the time reacting, trying to get everything done. You got to calm down and say, okay, hold on. What's most important? Let me get the important things done. Give a little time, 2 hours a day for urgent matters. Give 4 hours for important work. And 2 hours keep free. You will be more productive than you work 18 hours a day.
Awesome. So well said, Vivek. There's this another question which is about motivation, and I'm here listening, I'm seeing that on the comments here, and also the comments that we received while people registered. And maybe I'll just like to put it a little differently than what people are just talking about motivation. What from your analysis would it talk about the relationship that the company has with its employees in these times? So, Pranav, maybe if I can start with comments from your side.
Yeah. See, employee engagement is perhaps one of the most important things during this time. And COVID is going to last there. I don't know, as Bhavna was saying, when it is going to finish. And in which way it is going to finish, और इसका क्या स्वरूप होगा अंत में, we do not know. We can only anticipate, we can only guess, like a Jyotish today. But what happens? I'll give you a small example. My son works with a company, with a law firm. What they started doing, and as you know, in law firms it is very bad. Always from not 6 o'clock in the morning, but yes, from 10 to 11 till midnight. No, it goes everywhere. See that company started doing once in a week Zoom party. They don't discuss anything except for they tell you first what is going to be the menu today and what is going to be the drink today. and accordingly you engage yourself. So that is how you engage with the people. So that is how I feel. So you have to be there, and otherwise we are getting into the fatigue. The moment fatigue sets into the mind, then it becomes pretty difficult for anybody to be. Yeah,
Yeah, very good.
That's awesome. I think that's very thoughtful of doing. So, the other point, one is about the engagement that you just spoke, and which is so real that we've been also taught since childhood that and I'm
yeah,
a Gujarati, and there's this saying that taras lage tyare kuo na khodaye. You don't dig a well when you're thirsty.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So you actually do or prepare your team so that when a situation like this happens, you're victorious. You come out as a team together out of it.
yes,
But
yes,
would
yes.
there be any specific inputs on how do you keep your team motivated at this point in time when there's so much of uncertainty right now? You don't know whether it will open the offices, and once it opens, or rather, a lot of places it's opened, but then there are those norms that you do. People are going to office, but there are no sales, so there's pressure on sales to do it, or there's no raw material to do production.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There is so much of that whole dynamism, if I may call that. Earlier where I had a routine to follow, now I'm absolutely taken by surprise every moment.
Yeah,
What do you do in that moment? You don't know what's coming to you next.
no doubt.
Maybe Bhavna, how
Yeah.
what are your inputs?
So it's very interesting. And if I'm gonna flip this question on its head, huh, Kalpesh? So tell me, what do you think motivation means? What is motivation? And I mean it for the group, since I can't see the group. You're going to be my guinea pig.
Okay. Well, I think it's about uh, the drive to do something. It's
Right.
about willingness, and probably it's also about you maybe knowing of whatever I'm doing, how is it going to result? What is it going to result into?
Okay.
So for me, if I know that I'm doing this for this particular cause, then I'm motivated.
Okay. Great. That really takes care of how I'm going to answer it. When you're saying, when I know what this is going to amount to, is when I get motivated. Um, Organizations I see are saying, oh, our people are not motivated, which means they are not, and they're equating the motivation with the number of hours people are putting and what is the quality of work they are getting. Okay. Motivation is coming from that part of the brain which is centered on the value system that we have. Values, we all come with our own set of values, but then there is one which is an organizational value. And like they said, like I think Pranav was also mentioning that, or you were saying, no, we can't dig the well when we are thirsty.
Yes,
So if the value system was already not in play, and we are from your original question, how what does it say about the relationship of the organization and the employees? If the value system was not at play in the get go, then right now you are going to be addressing the symptom and not the disease.
Yeah.
How is it that your employees are not worried about you? How is it it's the other way around? And so if I look within and I say what motivates me, and I say what motivates the next Joe, it could be money, it could be appreciation, it could be recognition, it could be, your people, and if you don't, go find out. We continue to say, how can we motivate? How can we motivate? Do you know your people? How do you know your? Vivek was talking about listening. Talk to them. If they are demotivated, what is the reason? We stop it, they are demotivated. What can we do? Ask them, why are they demotivated?
yeah,
What makes two people of the same organization have two different kind of feelings. One is motivated, the other is not. Clearly, it's the same environment, it's the same organization. Either there is something happening in his personal environment, or we got to find out he's a human being. He's not one, like anomaly. कि कुछ भी हो रहा है ऐसा नहीं होता ना. There is a reason why people behave a certain way. Just find out and fix it. It's you can address, right? You can address the monetary part, or you can address the professional part, or if they are feeling they don't see their career going anywhere, get them a mentor from the company. And the best. So, and I know I'm going on and on about this, but this is something that I'm dealing with like two of my clients right now, and which is why I'm so passionate. So I'm going to leave you with and all the group with a little trick. There is a coach called Michael Bungay Steiner, and he's written many books. In one of the books, he talks about something called the Terra quotient in communication, and Terra is like an abbreviation, TERA. T means tribe, E is expectation, R is rank, and A is autonomy. So now if you combine, so tribe meaning when you're having a conversation, when you're having a communication, when you're relating to your people, make sure that you are letting them know we're one. I'm not HR, I'm not top management, you're junior management, nothing, we're one. We are in this crisis together. And that's when the impact of your conversation communication is going to deepen. Then comes the E, which is the expectation. Define the expectation. Why are you having the conversation? If you want to actually know why he's demotivated, ask him. Be honest. Say, I want to know why you're demotivated. I've seen you're not, performing as you should or you could. Don't throw rank in his face. That's it. The moment you said, I am HR or I am your manager or I'm your supervisor, band ho gaya. He stopped listening. He's like, judge me. Now you're judging me. I'm not going to open up. And then last is the autonomy. Give them a choice. We have no control over so many things right now. And that's our problem. The uncertainty, the lack of control is our problem. Give them a choice. If you wanted to help yourself, what would you do? If it was an ideal situation, one thing that could help you, what would you do? Have that kind of conversation and look at your motivation. And I'm seeing results. We are putting that in play in one small organization, which was about 35 people, and another organization, which is a giant. So we have to start training people to think like that and talk like that, but it has impact and it's giving results.
Yes.
Wow. Thanks, partner. I think one of the things which I was present was the amount of passion that the other one.
Yeah. I'm very passionate about it. I feel like all these organizations are mine. All these people are mine.
Yeah. No, I think that comes up. Bhavna, this is one question to you from Ajay.
Yeah.
And when you're sharing about the initial phases where you spoke about going back to the drawing board, looking at the entire design aesthetic itself. He probably wanted you to elaborate a little more that in this situation when you need to go back to the drawing board, what is it that you would specifically mean, or what should they do?
Excellent observation. Whoever was listening in, great job. So this is something that we do, and I think Vivek also does it. We do it in career transition coaching, where we are looking at, and it's literally going back to the drawing board, where we are looking at who are you as a person, what do you like, what you don't like, what you absolutely would not do, what makes sense to you, what makes financial sense to you, what is the need of the hour, what does your customer want, all of those questions. Going back to the drawing board is where we're talking about organizations that have been impacted, and they are mostly product and manufacturing organizations. Just a couple of days ago, we were having a conversation where somebody said there is a subsidiary of Ford who was making exhausts, and Ford had committed that they will pick up 50,000 exhausts from them. This is a smaller organization, and now in the past 3 months, Ford has not sold a single car and has come down to nothing. And he's put a new plant, and he's got 4 lines which are sitting idle. And I know when we were brainstorming, um, there was another coach who said, well, that's happened. How do you, what, what is your intention now? Do you want to sit on this? Do you want to work on this? And the answers are all with you. So the good bit is start asking the questions. Going back to the drawing board, meaning be curious, be a child. Have you seen little children? They chew your brains. They just keep asking. I mean, I've had questions from my daughter like, why is air? What is even that question? As a child, she says, why is air? Like, because it is. So that's the level of curiosity that you have to have. Going back to the drawing board is exactly that. Be dumb. See what is my potential. See where are my vulnerabilities as an organization, as a person. How can I exploit what I'm good at? Even if I have a manufacturing unit, right? If I'm not manufacturing exhaust, let me look at what Ford is going to make in the future. Let me start tweaking this my plant, or let me see policies from the government, get money from them, evolve like that. So going back to the drawing room is just be curious, ask the questions, figure out your answers, and if you can't, get yourself a coach. And that said, I am a coach. Vivek is a coach. That's another thing. But get yourself a coach, and they will ask the questions for you.
Yeah. No, I think very well said, Bhavna. And you know, so I completely relate to what you just said, because while we're talking about all the bad news and all the things that happen and how should we deal with, there are a lot of good news that are happening. And I was reading in the last 2 3 days that, for example, the phone pay is hiring is looking at going 20 to 30% up on their hiring. You have people who are in the software businesses, IT businesses, the risk and security businesses. They're all going up gung ho, and they've raised funds from investors to, because they're growing and they have expansion plans.
Yeah.
To that extent, on the Narendra Modi app or the India app, we read about how the PPE's business, which was not existing 2 months back, is become a 7,000 crore industry right now. And how is India taking lead in that area?
Yeah,
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 absolutely.
So,
How
so I think,
you have to see how hiring has changed. I mean, there is no more the pedigree of the degree.
yes,
It's
yes.
the pedigree of your skill. All
yes,
those people who said, "Oh, but we didn't go to IIM," or all those people who said, "But you didn't go to IIM," it's gone. If you
yeah.
can get the job done, you're hired.
Yeah, and the beauty of that is also, for example, the new normal, which is driving, say, TCS, which is announced by Rajesh Gopinath, saying in 2 years'
Yeah,
time, they're looking at 75% of employees working from home so that they cut costs. Now, it
Yes.
actually is
Yes.
becoming a virtual organization that I'll be getting hired online, I'll do my work online, I'll resign online, and I'll actually get my full and final online. I may have
yeah,
Yeah,
never interacted or not met the company once.
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Great. So I think it's 12:24. It's been a wonderful discussion with all three of you. But if I may request, for your closing comments for our audience who's been with us the last 1.5 hours, and maybe if I may request, Bhavna, you to start with.
Haven't you heard enough of me?
No, I'm just talking about the closing comments for the audience to
Okay,
kind of go back
and
with.
I'm going to make it quick. I like to really talk. um, Yeah, so what I want to leave this entire group with is, and I'm going to go back to where we started from, at least from my perspective, which is the business continuity. Um, People, process, profit, partnership. Those are the 4 key things for you. Don't just plan for yourselves, plan for your partnerships, plan for people who are people and subsidiaries that are engaged with you. Plan, don't worry about how good the plan is. Have a plan. Keep making plans. Plans change. But as long as you have plans, that means you're doing the thinking. You are agile. You are in the moment. You are alive. You have hope. You are trying. There is, there will be success. So have a plan, talk to people, be genuine, be vulnerable. From great vulnerability comes great success. Be vulnerable. There is no, there's no looking down upon asking for help, no looking down upon because I have this profile, this rank, I'm supposed to behave a certain person. We are all behaving madly now. We are all behaving different. So it's all right. We are all trying to do the best that we can, given the situation we are in. So just take it easy, chill, find time for yourselves. Yeah.
Great, Bhavna. Thank you. Pranav,
Oh, sure. I think we have covered many miles during our 1.5 hours session. What I would like to say that what Bhavna was saying, that go back to drawing board. Don't hesitate to go back to drawing board, because in this situation, if you do not involve your employees in your conversation, whatsoever issues it may be, you have to share with them. I'll say throw it back to them, take their comments, take their opinions. If you have got structured uh, unions and associations, talk to unions and associations. They come out with wonderful ideas. Today it can't be top-down approach. If 50% मैंने आपकी तनख्वाह काट ली, the productivity goes 100% down. But if that before you announce this, if the employee agrees that don't remove people, we are ready to take 50% cut, then the productivity goes up. So this is my small submission to everyone. Talk to everyone, all the stakeholders. It is going to help you.
wonderful. Great, Pranav. Vivek, your closing comments.
Yeah. In fact, one step further, if you're finding difficulty in creating business, your manufacturing is not working, your business is going down, talk to your people, find out ideas from them. Maybe you'll get lots of great ideas from your people about what could be done to take the business forward. So really engage with them. If some of your people who are factory workers, etc., they've gone back to the villages and you want to get them back, talk to them again. What is it that they would need? Don't threaten them. I read a story about a resident doctor who was told, if you don't come back to work, we will fire you and your whole career will be finished. So this lady resident doctor is studying her exams. She was preparing for her exams, but because of COVID, she had to come back. She spent 25,000 rupees from her pocket, but she could afford it. Hire a car so that she could come back to Bombay and join her hospital. Right? So find a way to work it out together with your people and create a structure in your factory, in your where the work is, so that they are safe, they are taken care of. Look, I'll tell you something. If you know that you can trust your manager, you can trust your boss, if that connection is there, family kind of relationship is there, this person cares for me, वो जान दे देगा आपके लिए. They will give their life, there's no problem. Third thing about motivation, remember, all human beings, when they are born, they are fully motivated. If you look at children, they are completely motivated. It's only the adults, after lots of input, that the motivation starts to fall. It's same thing is happening in our lives also. That we have a lot of people around us who are saying something or the other. So let's create an environment where we listen to people and look at what's possible, what is achievable, so that we can engage with them. Engagement is very, very critical. Last thing, the future is emerging, the Bucca world is happening, new things are going to come up. You guys got to listen for what's coming up. If you're not on track, somebody else will make PPE suits. If you don't come up with a new idea, somebody else will make that idea. So you guys, as your organizations, you got to look at what does the market need, what does the country need, what do the world need, what do people need, Start looking at that. Don't look for what do I need, what my profit is. Start looking at what people need. Profit aayega, sab kuch aayega. You'll have a great fun. That's it.
Great. So wonderful. Thank you all three of you for once again taking your time off and being here. Thank you to all our panel, all our attendees who are here throughout the session with us. Thank you, Veer, who is the creator of Core HRIR, and all the other members who make this whole platform happen. And it was really pride moment to engage into a conversation with all three of you. Looking forward to many more conversations. And to the audience, we're going to come up with a lot more candid conversations with leaders, such as Bhavna, Pranav, and Vivek, like we have. Keep watching this space and stay tuned. You can visit us on Core HRIR LinkedIn page, on Facebook page. Keep following up on that, and you'll keep hearing and being updated about all these initiatives. So thank you once again, and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for
Thank you.
HRIR.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care. Have a good day.